Do you know what the annual revenue of Amazon is? It's $280 billion US. This revenue exceeds the GDP of Kuwait, which is $111 billion. If we consider Amazon as an independent nation, it will rank as the world's 86th biggest country. Amazon alone makes up for a huge chunk of the world's e-commerce industry. In fact, it is estimated that 44% of all online sales happen on Amazon only. In short, it's the first choice for everyone to buy anything online. And Amazon clearly knows this, as stated by its former CEO Jeff Bezos since the early days of the company's inception.
We want to be Earth's most customer-centric company. So we're trying to build a completely new standard, raise the bar worldwide on what it means to be focused on customers and obsessed over customers. That's our mission.
If this is true, why is its website layout so messy and outdated? It's intriguing that such a significant entity doesn't seem to offer a more appealing and functional interface to its users. This topic has been a subject of extensive discussion over the years, with theories put forth by e-commerce specialists and consumer behavioral analysts all over the internet. Before unpacking these theories, we need to pin down what people perceive as a good e-commerce website. This understanding is crucial if we're to untangle why they're perhaps focusing on the wrong aspects. "We want a website like Apple's," is reportedly the most common phrase website agencies hear from e-commerce clients when describing what they want out of a website redesign. You don't have to be a retail expert to notice that Apple's website is very pleasing to the eye. But what causes each online store owner to consider Apple's website as their primary source of inspiration for the perfect e-commerce website layout? Despite having so many products, Apple has established a clear hierarchy of information on its site. The top navigation bar features only 7 category choices and 3 clear icons. In contrast, Amazon has no hierarchy to its products at all. They cram all the sections onto one page amongst a sign-in button and a quote for some reason. Apple's top navigation was designed to not need the use of drop-down submenus, while Amazon squeezes all its main pages into one hidden drop-down menu that most people would probably miss. Apple is minimalistic and pleasing to the eye, with lots of white space, while Amazon has not a single plot of white space for its website to breathe from. And this isn't only on the landing page, but on every single page of Amazon. Customers often complain about Amazon's cluttered design and overcomplicated functionality. But this isn't a case of the e-commerce giant being unaware or dismissive. It's widely recognized in the industry that customers typically lean towards minimalism, with 84.6% of people surveyed preferring a clean outlook rather than a crowded page designed for e-commerce websites. Yet, Amazon has approximately 2.45 billion plus monthly visitors. But why is this? Isn't the customer always supposed to be right? Two critical perspectives emerged from these discussions. One explores the perception of a phenomenon called the discount aspect. In the days before the internet, businesses advertised their products through physical catalogs, printed on paper prospectuses that would be delivered directly into people's mailboxes. Businesses with larger budgets could afford to spread out their product advertisements across multiple pages. On the other hand, companies with tighter budgets were forced to cram as many products as possible onto a single page of their brochure in order to save on printing costs. The unintended circumstance turned out to be advantageous, as the denser adverts ended up driving more volume sales. It turned out that when consumers were presented with a page packed with different items, they often viewed one product as a simple add-on, almost an afterthought. In contrast, if a product was featured alone on a page, it was perceived as a significant purchase due to its rarity and prominence, rather than just an impromptu bargain. Several experts argue that this approach resulted in higher purchase rates per customer, drawing on the paradox of choice concept. This idea proposes that when faced with too many options, customers find decision-making more challenging and might end up feeling less satisfied with their final choice. As a result, to avoid regret, customers may end up purchasing more than one item from the range of options they see. Amazon has not only incorporated this principle, but mastered it. So much so that even after a consumer finds a product on a competitor's website, 90% of them will head to Amazon and search for the same product because of its competitive pricing reputation.
So Amazon is always collecting data on its customers. It makes these psychographics that target its customers. That's how it comes up with the if you like this, you might also like this kind of thing. It's kind of simple logic that people like to impulse purchase sometimes, and for an ability to facilitate these impulse purchases, one-click ordering is great because it can just, you're like, oh, I see it, I want it, I bought it.
However, making changes to Amazon's website layout or adding nicer designs to it could risk tarnishing this established reputation. The idea is a too polished professional website might give an impression of high cost, deterring many users. In contrast, a less glamorous site could suggest affordability and practicality. For instance, companies like Apple, known for their sleek and minimalistic design, are often associated with premium pricing. Consumers are hardwired to think in a reciprocating manner, and when they see that too much effort was put into the nice designs of a website, they subconsciously feel that they are compensating for a more expensive product. The second aspect, dubbed the IKEA Syndrome, refers to the strategy employed by IKEA stores of guiding customers through a set path to expose them to as many products as possible.
So the more you travel, the more items by definition as a shopper you are going to be exposed to.
Some argue that Amazon's sometimes cluttered product display and cross-selling suggestions are a strategic approach to maximize product visibility rather than a design flaw. When you visit a store like IKEA, you're funneled along a specific path. This maze-like design is crafted to ensure you see as many products as possible. You might walk in aiming to buy just a chair, but the store's layout has you leaving with a lamp, tablecloth, and set of dishes. Similarly, navigating through Amazon's complicated web of sections means you'll unintentionally come across more products. The longer a consumer browses for a single product, the more likely they are to add other things to their cart.
That would be more of your impulse purchase, where you see something, you think, hey, that's kind of a cool item, I think I'll, buy that.
So, getting lost on the website isn't such a bad thing when there are appealing products taking up every space on every page. Further theories consider the fear of change, particularly in a highly successful platform like Amazon. Smaller stores do not suffer from the fear of change as much as highly recognized ones. Any alteration could risk losing customers, and even a temporary loss would mean substantial revenue. Since Amazon's value primarily lies in its vast product catalog, fast delivery, and competitive pricing, the navigation aesthetic might not be a priority. The thought is, if it's not broken, why fix it? The unchanged button designs have become second nature to frequent Amazon shoppers, just as clear description sections and recommendation components have. Amazon's consistent design over the years serves as a visual memoir in a way, reminding customers of all their past shopping experiences on the site, making browsing it a muscle memory. Other websites often change their appearance, causing there to be a new learning curve every few years, while Amazon will always be the Amazon.com they remember. Much like how we struggle to connect with a TV character when the actor portraying them is replaced, even if they're still a beloved character. For instance, viewer statistics reveal that a significant portion of viewers stopped watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when the core character of Vivian Banks was recast.
You know, Miss Banks, since you had that baby, there's something different about you.
Similarly, when Facebook altered its feed layout for a more contemporary look in 2009, and again in 2017, numerous older users shifted away. Interestingly, these changes weren't necessarily bad. In many ways, each new design Facebook made to the site made it more user-friendly and intuitive. However, little did they realize users were building unique habits over time when they used the platform on such a frequent basis. Before Facebook's redesign, users had developed specific methods to quickly scan posts upon opening the app. But the new elements, like additional comments in 2009 and stories in 2017, disrupted these established routines. Small shifts, such as where users would typically focus their eyes upon loading the site or app, can create discomfort if they're altered. Even seemingly minor modifications were viewed as noisy, useless add-ons by fans of the site, who complained about the extra clicks now required to access features like photos and notes. In a poll on the site, more than 1 million members, 94% of respondents, said that they couldn't stand the redesigns. Despite the redesign's aim to increase user-friendliness, it overlooked the personal micro-adjustments people make for how they personally interact with the platform. Another example is how iPhone users swiftly toggle their Wi-Fi on and off to refresh their connection. When Apple introduced a new feature to inform users how long the Wi-Fi would be disconnected, it inadvertently slowed down the process, disrupting a well-established habit. Similarly, the product description section on Amazon may appear plain and lacking in design, but users have grown used to it. They've developed habits like scrolling to a particular point without conscious thought, knowing where to find descriptions, purchase buttons, and size options using peripheral vision. Jeff Bezos has always been against making too many changes in the look and feel of the website because people are now accustomed to using its age-old design. And the familiar layout serves a purpose by catering to those ingrained user habits. Redesigns discombobulate our muscle memories. While Meta continues to prosper despite its questionable design changes over the years, the same scenario may not apply to a platform like Amazon. The reason is simple. Users are less committed to a single shopping site than they are to a social media platform. The whole process of online shopping is characterized by switching between competitors for the best prices, shipping time, and availability. With the average customer visiting around 5 to 10 different online stores for a single item, and spending approximately 8 seconds on each site before arriving at the final destination. If that doesn't sound scary enough, research shows that consumer attention spans have only been shrinking to even shorter durations over the past few decades. One example of a reasonable design change that temporarily backfired in the e-commerce space involves a once famous Amazon competitor, Play.com. If you haven't heard of it in a while, or think it has shut down, there's a reason. Rakuten purchased Play.com, and the rebranding that followed created confusion for many customers. Shoppers, particularly parents, who were familiar with the old site, did not have the patience to decipher that Rakuten was in fact the same entity as Play.com. They assumed they'd clicked on a bogus link or a Play.com alternative. As a result, they ended up purchasing from other stores when they couldn't find their initial website of choice. The final aspect worth examining relates to website performance, which is undeniably important on the internet. Not only does a swift page load prevent potential buyers from abandoning the site, but it also enhances the site's search engine ranking on Google. Even though some of you may have super fast fiber connections and can download gigabytes of data in seconds, remember that this isn't the case everywhere. A simple buy button animation or scrolling effect can have slight delays in page load times. If a shopper spends a mere 5 seconds navigating your site, you certainly don't want 2 of those seconds wasted on a blank loading screen. You will take any millisecond of a customer's attention you can get your hands on. Worldwide, including sophisticated countries in Europe, not everyone has access to such high-speed internet. Some people are still relying on slower 4G, 3G, or sometimes even edge connections. Therefore, if Amazon wants to be the world's most customer-centric company, they must prioritize a fast-loading page over a visually stunning one that takes more than a second to load. For merchants, there are broader implications of design decisions beyond aesthetics. From an aesthetic point of view, Amazon's web store is neither simple nor beautiful, 2 things that we expect from a good design. Instead, it focuses on the simplicity of experience, process, and functionality. Everything you see on Amazon, every pixel, pretty or ugly, is rigorously tested to the most minute tactical level. For a change to happen, it generally needs to prove its merit via positive metrics. If their conversion funnel is driving profit, they care less about the aesthetics aspect. And that's what any e-commerce giant like Amazon would be wary of before taking a stab at their layout design. Curious about how brands cleverly deploy memes in marketing strategies? Similar to the marketing genius of Amazon's distinctive website design? Be sure to check out this video, covering everything you didn't know about the impact and smart application of meme marketing. If you want to build and scale your brand today, be sure to check out Krepling, where you can automate all the complex operations of your storefront using click instead of code. Click the link below to get started. Until next time.